Are you beginning to study for the Praxis Core Writing Exam? That is test code 5723. If that's your test, then good news. My name is Jeff Calareso. I am a former teacher and a test prep expert from study.com. In this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know for this test. We're going to help you learn all about the test as well as how to prepare. So if you're about to prepare for this test, let's jump in. All right, let's start with the basics. This test is 100 minutes long, and it's divided into 3 separately timed sections. First, there's a 40-minute section with 40 multiple choice questions. After that, you'll do 2 separately timed 30-minute essay sections. Okay, your score. So your score will be out of 200 points. What a passing score is going to vary based on where you live, but in most states, 162 points is a passing score. Questions are scored, though, on a scale based on the difficulty of the question. So generally speaking, though, about a 62% will get you a passing score. For the multiple choice section, this is pretty straightforward. You translate that 62%, and you want to get about 25 out of 40 questions right, and you'll be in good shape, 25 or better. For the essay section, this is scored a little bit differently. So each essay is scored on a scale of 1 to 6. So if we take that 62% threshold and translate that to a 1 to 6 scale, it means you need about a 4 or better on each essay in order to pass. All right, let's go through a couple of strategy tips here. First one, don't think of this as one big test. Think of it as 3 distinct smaller tests. Do the best you can on each section. When the time is up, just move on. Don't worry about the last section. Just focus on each of the 3 individual sections one at a time. All right. Second tip, along those same lines, with this writing test, a lot of people are intimidated by the essays. I get it. Essays are really hard. You've got a prompt and then just this blank white space that you have to fill up. There aren't answer choices to pick from. So it's definitely a different type of experience. But we're going to break this down into some bite-sized pieces for you later on in this video, just so you can better be confident and ready for those essays. So more on that later. One more thing that you should definitely keep in mind about this test. It's a pass-fail test, okay? There's no bonus points for getting a perfect score or a slightly better than passing score. All you need to do is pass. Just focus on passing and you'll be fine. So the next thing to think about is where you're going to take the test. So all the Praxis tests are computer-delivered tests. All that means is you're going to take this test on a computer. You're not going to be filling in bubble sheets with a pencil or writing essays with pen and paper. None of that. So don't worry about that. The good news is that for most residents of the US and Canada and US territories, you can choose to take this test at home instead of at a testing center. It's up to you. We have a whole video that goes into the pros and cons of each of these. So check that out if you're trying to figure out the best option for you. One big factor for people when they're trying to decide how they're going to test is, do they have a testing center near them, like close by? So definitely check out the ETS website to see what the closest testing center is for you. We'll include that link in the notes to this video. All right, you've decided where you're taking your test. The next question is, when are you taking your test? At-home testing is going to be the most flexible. You're, generally speaking, going to be able to take the test 7 days a week. You also have chances to take it most times of the day, including outside of normal work hours. In-person testing is going to be a little bit more restricted. So you might only find availability Monday through Friday. And generally speaking, it's going to be start times between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that you can generally schedule your test up to 90 days in advance. I recommend that you start looking sooner than later, just because, particularly if you're doing in-person testing, but this is true for both, there's limited slots available. So you want to lock in the test date that you think will work best for you and plan ahead. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics, let's dive into the actual test content and talk about the specifics of what to expect from the questions themselves. So again, this test is divided into 2 types of section. There's the multiple choice, and then there are the essays. And that's 2 essay writing sections. So let's first talk about the multiple choice. So the multiple choice questions are designed to test your ability to use standard written English effectively and correctly. So in other words, you're going to be asked to proofread and correct pieces of written content. You're also going to be asked to interpret and evaluate pieces of written content. But again, these are 100% multiple choice questions. The main type of question are going to be single answer multiple choice. So these are straightforward, and these are going to be the majority of what you see. You're going to be able to identify these because they have a circular button that you can identify that there's only one choice. Now, sometimes there is more than one correct answer choice. What you are looking for is the best answer choice. So make sure you always read through all of the possible choices and pick the best one. There's going to be 5 answer choices in each of these multiple choice questions. And again, the best one, that's what you're looking for. The second type is single answer again, but these ones are going to incorporate the answer choices into the question. So you might click on like an underlined section of the prompt to select your answer. And here you're going to have to read through a sentence and identify errors. Also, there might be no errors. So keep that in mind that sometimes the sentence you're presented with is actually okay, and you just have to click there's no error. All right, let's take a look at an example. So in the future, chefs are experimenting with new ingredients and cooking techniques in order to create innovative twists on classic dishes. No error. So this sentence starts with that clause, in the future. So I know that the sentence should be written in the future tense, but choice A isn't written. It's in the future tense. It's in the present tense. So choice A is the correct answer. Are experimenting is present tense. So the essay sections, unsurprisingly, are structured a little bit differently. Here you're going to be given a prompt, and then you're going to have to respond to the prompt. So first thing to do, read through the prompt. I recommend giving it one kind of quick pass. Just read it through, absorb what you can, and then read it a second time. This time, look for keywords, look for requirements, and then note on the score. If you go off topic or if you don't directly respond to the prompt, you will be scored lower. So always make sure, always look back to that prompt as you're writing. Refer back to the prompt. It's very easy to go slightly off track, but keep looking back to that prompt and you'll be in good shape. So on the computer screen, you're going to see the prompt, and then you're going to see a box to type your essay into below it. This box, it's a pretty basic word processor. You can do like cutting and pasting, not a lot else. Mostly it's just there so you can just type through your essay. And that's pretty much it. So, and just remember that there are 2 distinct essays on the test, and you have 30 minutes to complete each one. All right, so we've now covered how the test is structured. Next up, let's get into the content of actually what it's testing you on. So on the Praxis Core Writing Exam, there are 4 main categories of question that you need to be comfortable with. Let's go through them one by one. All right, the first category is usage. So the usage questions are testing things at the individual word or punctuation level. So these, you're looking for errors in things like capitalization, apostrophes, tense, possession, specific word or punctuation choice, things like that. Generally speaking, you're going to be given a full sentence with multiple parts underlined separately, and you're asked to review it for mistakes. So similar to with reading the essay prompt, best thing to do first is just read through it once, kind of read through it quickly and read through it with an ear to anything that kind of sounds out of place. And then go back and look at those individual underlines the second time you read through it. Remember, sometimes there is no error. So there's always a chance that you're looking at a perfectly written sentence. That's going to happen. That's okay. Some percentage of your questions are going to have no error in them. Second category of questions is sentence correction. So here you're going to be asked to look for errors at the whole sentence level. So you'll be given a whole sentence. There may be a structure issue. There may be a grammatical relationship issue. And what you're trying to do is remove any ambiguity in the sentence. You're trying to make the sentence as simple and as clear as you possibly can. So generally speaking, what you'll get here is a full sentence with one part of it underlined, and then you'll be given answer choices that are variations for that underlined part. And you're trying to pick the one that's a better fit. But again, sometimes the best fit is actually the one in the actual prompt itself. So keep that in mind. So the third category is revision in context. I like to think of these as like the next level sentence corrections. These, you're going to be given a slightly longer passage. It might be 100 to 200 words long. And then your job here is to think as an editor, put your editing hat on and try to revise the passage in a way that makes it better. So you'll be given that passage, and then you'll be given some questions that say things like, would it be clearer or would it be stronger if you did this or this or this? And again, you're trying to find the best fit. Sometimes the best fit is what was originally there. So that's a running theme. Last, fourth and final category, research skills. So here is a little different. This time you're going to be asked to evaluate the credibility of various sources that are cited within a passage, or you might be asked to look at a citation and identify the parts of it. That's pretty much what research skills is. So that does it for the multiple choice section. Now let's go on to the essays. So the first essay that you're going to be asked to write is an argumentative essay. So here you're going to be presented with someone's opinion, and then your job is to agree or disagree. Again, read the prompt carefully. Sometimes part of the prompt means we'll say something like you have to add additional supporting evidence from your own life, something like that. So keep in mind any key phrases in that prompt that you can be sure to include, because that's going to affect your score. Also, one thing to remember is you don't have to agree or disagree in its entirety throughout your whole essay. You can agree or disagree with parts of the prompt. That's okay. Just again, read the prompt very carefully and pick apart the different things it's asking you to do. So we have another video that will go through in more detail how to piece together an argumentative essay. But for right here, I'm just going to talk through quickly the 3-paragraph approach that I strongly recommend that you use. So paragraph 1, introduce your topic, restate the author's argument in your own words. Don't just quote it word for word. And then state your own opinion, including how your opinion compares to the author's opinion. That's paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, you're going to support your opinion with 1 to 3 examples. And make sure, again, you're looking at the prompt and you're addressing everything it asks for. And then last paragraph, paragraph 3, you're just going to repeat your opinion, summarize your supporting points. That's your essay, 3 paragraphs. So the second essay will be an informative or explanatory essay. This time you're going to be given 2 different sources, and you're going to be asked to summarize the key points and areas of focus for each one. So here you want to read each source carefully and make sure you understand both what each one is saying as well as how they relate to one another. All right, so again, we have a whole other video that goes more into depth on informative and explanatory essays, but I want to cover a couple of key tips to help you right here. So first thing, remember that you have to draw on information from both essays, and you must also cite the source whenever you reference it, either directly or indirectly. You want to make sure that the person scoring the essay knows what source you're talking about. And second thing, make sure you both compare and contrast how the 2 sources handle the specific issue. So it's often useful to start by talking about what they have in common. So look for the common ground between your 2 sources and then talk about where they differ. And then third, don't forget your own opinion. All right, so you've got these 2 sources. You want to basically reference those sources, but you also have to share how you feel. And you're going to get a higher score if your essay isn't just a simple summary of your sources, but actually evaluates the claims and offers your own opinion. So that'll help you boost your score. The first and most important part of preparing for the Praxis Core Writing Exam is to know both what's on the test and what it looks like. So good news, you've already done that. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to go deeper. So you want to go deeper into the different content areas and understand your strengths and weaknesses. For the multiple choice section, the best way to start that is to take a full-length practice test. So on study.com, you're going to find multiple options of practice tests. You can go through your first one, and that will help you identify where you're going to get the most value out of your study time. So don't worry about your score. That first test, just go through, take it cold, get through the whole test, and then look at your results. This is just like almost like your warm-up, just to calibrate where you are. That'll help build you a study plan that then you can keep yourself accountable as you start to go deeper into each of the areas of need. For the essay section, I think the best thing you can do is to start by reading a bunch of 6 out of 6 essays. What are those essays that are getting those perfect scores? Those are readily available on the Praxis website. And also remember, you don't have to reinvent the wheel as you write. You can crib notes from what you're seeing in those 6 out of 6 essays. And I'm also going to do another video here where we walk through more in detail about kind of step-by-step process of writing those essays. All right, that concludes this video. I hope you're feeling a little bit more confident about that Praxis Core Writing Exam. If you did find this video useful, please remember to like this video. Also, subscribe to our channel and get that notification bell so you get alerted whenever we have new test prep content for you. If you're looking for more ways to study, definitely check out study.com's Praxis test prep materials. We have a full Praxis Core Writing test prep course, as well as a bunch more Praxis content. Really goes through the things that I just went through, but in a ton more detail. So there's short form videos. These are going to cover every concept that you'll need to know for the test. We also have a huge bank of practice test questions, and those also come with answer explanations. So if you get a question wrong, you can understand better the concept. So the next time you're going to know it. And one thing to note about that content, it's all been written by former teachers and test prep experts. And people who use study.com's test prep courses have a 92% pass rate on the test. So that's a great resource for you. Last thing, want to hear from you. Let us know how you're doing. If there's particular test questions that you get stuck on or questions you have about the test, throw that in the comments. And then also, after you pass your test, come back here, leave a note in the comment, let us know how you did. So good luck.